The mayor made my grandma's biker friends abandon her. Now she's living her dreams because of it. Every morning for 12 years, the same 5 ex-cons would roll their motorcycles up to my grandmother's bakery at exactly 7 a.m. She taught them to read in the prison literacy program, and when they got out, they never forgot Mrs. Rose, who treated them like humans. Everyone in town knew nobody messed with Rose's bakery, not with Carlos and his crew drinking coffee on the front stoop. Then Mayor Quimby decided they were bad optics for his re-election campaign. At the town meeting, he spoke in that practiced politician voice, all fake concern. We need to protect our elderly residents like Mrs. Rose from potential gang violence. My grandmother stood up immediately. These men are my friends, not some gang, but Quimby cut her off. I understand you're scared to speak against them publicly, Mrs. Rose. Don't worry, we'll protect you. 3 days later, Quimby showed up at my grandmother's bakery personally. He ordered a coffee, and while doing so, he leaned close to my grandmother. Off the record, I'd hate to see your liability insurance get investigated if someone gets hurt because you harbor known criminals. When my grandmother refused to budge, even handing out coffee to the bikers for free as protest, Quimby decided to punish her. He assigned a health inspector to come visit with his clipboard. Random inspection, he announced, finding 17 violations that hadn't existed the day before. That'll be $2,000, he declared. Oh, and those bikers can't sit at your outdoor tables anymore. Health code. My grandmother called me crying, neither of us knowing at that point that this happening was a blessing in disguise. 2 days after that, 3 of the bikers got arrested for loitering while helping grandmother carry flour bags from her truck. Bails set at $10,000 each, the judge, a friend of Quimby, said. None of us could afford it, and even worse, the arrested bikers were facing up to 3 years because of their criminal past. That's when Quimby made his move. He visited grandma's bakery again, this time with an offer. I can make those charges disappear. Your remaining friends just need to leave voluntarily. Grandmother's hand shook as she poured his coffee, but her voice was steady. Get out of my shop, but she didn't say no. I could tell she was cracking. The day after another $1,000 fine, the bikers started distancing themselves because they didn't want to cause my grandmother more trouble. That's when it happened. Coincidentally, the day they left, a teenager with a knife showed up at closing time. He broke grandmother's wrist as he grabbed $4,000 from the register. She was in the hospital bed, still crying from the pain when Quimby arrived with flowers and a reporter. But instead of focusing on the crime or finding the suspect, he twisted the narrative. This is exactly why we need the Clean Streets Initiative, he told the camera. Poor Mrs. Rose was too afraid to tell these bikers to leave. 2 more bikers got arrested outside their own apartments for armed robbery. Then Quimby's assistant photographed the remaining bikers at a gas station. The next day, their employers all received warnings about harboring criminals. 3 lost their jobs. When police knocked on Carlos's door at 3 a.m. with an anonymous tip about weapons, they found his legal hunting knife. Possession while on parole, they said. You're looking at 5 years. The last biker got served with a restraining order banning him from the entire downtown district. My grandmother was left completely alone. We still didn't realize the gold mine that was waiting for us. I remember trying to grasp at straws at that point. My grandmother was talking about just shutting the bakery down because she'd grown so used to the bikers and I couldn't allow that. I started looking through old photos, files, looking for something. That's when in her 1985 4th grade class photo, I spotted a gap-toothed girl named Helen Williams. She looked familiar, so I googled the name and nearly dropped my phone. Helen Williams was now the governor. I wrote a letter to her explaining everything and miraculously got a response 2 days later. When I visited the hospital to show my grandmother the letter, her face changed to hysterical laughter. She was happier than I'd seen her in genuine years. She instantly wrote Mayor Quimby an apology letter, telling him he was right and that she was inviting him to the bakery to personally thank him for making her realize the bikers were doing more harm than good. She had a big smile the whole time writing the letter. Quimby wrote back immediately. 3 days later, he strutted into the bakery with his assistant and reported broadcasting live at 10 a.m. One of those famous cinnamon rolls from the cleanest bakery in town, he said loudly. He glanced at grandmother's cast. That's when the roar of motorcycles suddenly filled the street. Everyone except me and grandma were shocked, and Quimby's face immediately lit up. Call the police. Those idiots just earned themselves prison time. Unfortunately for Quimby, that's when Governor Williams herself walked through the door wearing a leather jacket. My grandmother gasped. Helen? Helen Williams from 4th grade? The governor nodded. Mrs. Rose, you taught me to read when I was 9 years old. Time I returned the favor. She turned to Quimby. You're relieved of duty. Effective immediately. Quimby's coffee cup shattered on the floor. He looked at the bikers around him, the broadcast recording his humiliation live, and decided if he was going down, grandma's bakery was going down with him. I'll never forget what he did next. Full story on channel linked below.